can you believe in karma without believing in morality? And again, these questions are like gems. Hello, this is Dr. Dan Langley for another episode of Eye-Opening Discussions. If you are ready to question everything that you think that you know in order to unlock your true purpose and unleash your full potential, then join us as we dive deep into Eye-Opening Discussions. Where today we figured we'd try something new and different, is that we get comments on our pages and through email asking very specific questions. And I thought I'd kind of take a stab at maybe answering some of those for you all now. Because I find that some of these questions are universal. They're questions that I believe millions of people are asking themselves on a daily basis. And I believe that having more options in the way that we think about the questions that we have provides more opportunities for solutions to those questions. Question number one is, how do you not react to something that makes you feel unhappy? I thought this was a very interesting question in that it talks about two very important topics. One is react and reaction. Viktor Frankl said, between the stimulus and response, there's a moment where you can choose your reaction. And so the way that I view reaction is more of a primitive form of responding. And if we can control our reactions to situations and more lean on a desired or chosen type of response, then we will typically get a better outcome in that situation. Another aspect of that question is the idea of being unhappy. And I look at that in a couple different ways. Since we're all just energetic beings, the emotions that we have can be viewed on a certain scale of energetic frequency, from low vibration to high vibration. And unhappiness would be kind of considered someplace towards the bottom, along with fear, guilt, shame. And so depending on what we would consider unhappiness, if we just consider that as not being happy, or if we considered it the opposite of being happy, that would give us kind of a starting reference frequency to analyze or to consider. In a place where we could determine that we are indeed in an unhappy frequency, we can try to either transmute that unhappy frequency into a higher frequency of joy or love or even happiness. And I think the unique aspect of that question is that it empowers us with two potential ways to look at this. We get to now choose our frequency, and we get to choose whether we react or respond to that. And I believe within that dynamic of opportunity lies an infinitely vast array of positive choices that we can choose from. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to always respond positively when you're unhappy. I'm not saying trying to spiritually bypass your unhappiness to not experience that. That's why we're here to experience everything, not just the good things, not just the happiness, but indeed to experience the unhappiness, the sorrow, the worry, the suffering. And those are worth experiencing. What I'm saying is, for people who feel like they are stuck in unhappiness, that viewing their unhappiness as simply a frequency that can be changed, like turning the knob on a dial, and reacting and looking at that as a way that we could indeed respond instead of react, is that between that stimulus and our reaction, we have a chance to respond the way that we'd like. So if we want to respond to our unhappiness with sadness and with tears and with solitude, then I say that's a chosen response. It's not a reactive response, because we don't have to react in any way that we don't choose to. And a lot of times we are not encouraged to delay our reactions and cultivate responsivity. However you say it, responsivity. And I believe there is an opportunity for us to gain mastery over ourselves. Do you think in my life I've ever slipped into alternative timelines, or is it just a way of coping with the chaos by saying that? And I think that's another very interesting conversation, because now if you look online, there's all sorts of ways to talk about timeline hopping and frequency changing. And I think all these things are possibilities. And I believe thinking or believing that something is possible offers up that opportunity for you to experience that. Whereas if you think something is impossible, then it closes off those opportunities. And each one of us have the ability to choose whether we want to access that idea or that concept or that realm of frequency or not. If you think you can or you think you can't, then you're right. And that's absolutely true. If I think I can change my timeline in a way to cope with chaos, then I'm absolutely much more likely to be able to do that exercise of imagination than if I said, oh, it's impossible to switch timelines. So I would say that from a perspective of seeing that time, as we've mentioned in previous episodes, is an illusion. It's an albeit persistent illusion, but time is just a construct that man has made for himself. And time doesn't really exist. And have you ever been to the past? Can you revisit the past? Well, you can if your mind takes you through imagination back to the past, to pull that frequency and that emotion back from the past or from imagination into the present so that you can experience it now. Just like the future doesn't exist. So when people have issues with depression or with anxiety, that's a diffusion of their consciousness into imagination of what is quote unquote happened in the past or what might happen in the future. And in fact, we may see that quantum jumping or timeline jumping is a real event that can occur now, especially if you've had a traumatic event that has happened in your life and you've had some type of emotional or mental or spiritual healing in that event. We now have the opportunity to see that traumatic event through a new lens, through a new light. And that indeed changes its effect in our present. We can look at trauma, we can forgive those who have traumatized us, we can forgive ourselves for making mistakes. And we bring that newly found forgiveness and optimism into the present. And so have we not jumped a timeline by simply saying, oh, that past that I once thought happened no longer has occurred. So the people who've wronged me in my past, I've forgiven them, so they haven't wronged me. They've simply been on their human journey. And so now I can simply say, wow, my past has been changed. I've not had a traumatic childhood. I've not been victimized by perpetrators in the past. I've simply been in situations where I've gotten to interact with people who are just living their human experience. And so even in our current life now, our current reality now, if we come across a person who's maybe being kind of a jerk to us, we can simply recognize that, hey, that isn't them victimizing me. That's just them living their human experience. And we can honor that and we can support that. We can say, hey, thank you, person who's being a jerk, for being a jerk, because I know it's got to be hard. That's a lousy frequency to be in, unless you want to be in that. And I choose not to be in that, but I'm also grateful that you would take on the burden of being in a low vibrational, angry or jerk type state, so I don't have to. I'm grateful that you're being a signpost or a roadmap that says, hey, if you want to be a jerk, be here. And I say, no, thank you. I'm grateful that you're there, but I want to be right here. So I do believe that timeline jumping is real. And I do believe that through practice, we can all become masters at quantum jumping or timeline jumping. Can you believe in karma without believing in morality? And again, these questions are like gems right here, because it has another two important aspects here that I'd like to talk about. And one is the idea of karma. And I totally believe in karma. I believe it's one of the 7 natural laws of the universe. Although karma can also be called the law of cause and effect. I believe that the law of cause and effect are immutable, and that you cannot bypass these laws at all. And so every effect has a preceding cause. Those do not have anything to do with morality. Those are beyond morality. Morality is a concept that humanity has made up based on there are different morals and mores associated with many different cultures. And so what one culture deems moral, another culture may deem immoral. And so I believe that cause and effect is independent of morality. So, and quite frankly, I think that the lack of understanding of the law of cause and effect can cause people great harm and great suffering in their life, because they believe their morals, which are man-made laws, somehow supersede the universal laws of the creator or God or this reality. And I believe that causes all sorts of suffering. So to distinguish between universal creator laws and man-made laws, I think that's worthy of study. But to the question, I do believe that karma and cause and effect are a universal law, whereas morality is a man-made law. So you may be asking yourself, well, how do you differentiate between what's man-made and what's universal? And I believe what's man-made is dependent on circumstances, such as where you are located on the planet. In fact, it's moral, it may be morally acceptable to marry a 12-year-old girl, butcher an animal, or beat your kids. All these things may be morally acceptable, but what is more aligned with truth is a universal law. And so the 7 laws of the universe, such as everything is mental, the law of correspondence, the law of vibration, polarity, cause and effect, rhythm, and gender. These are immutable laws that are irrespective of the location on the planet and who's in power of the government in that time and what religious doctrine is being preached at that time. Morals change between geographic location. Universal laws do not. They're universal across the universe. I mean, they're true no matter what. Whereas morals change over time even. When do you know to react and when not to react? And I think that's another great question as well. As I mentioned earlier, reaction seems to be almost like a unconscious and or lack of controlled response to a situation. And when to react when you put your hand on a stove, hey, you might want to do that unconsciously to pull your hand away. But there may be certain aspects where you, instead of react, you might either not want to react, you might want to control your reaction to a situation, and you might want to choose a response better. And so that may be when someone says something that could be taken offensively. Because in reality, no one says anything offensively because they're just speaking words. The person who hears the words and then decides to put a label on those words as offensive or non-offensive, that's up to the listener of those words. Now, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have discernment and know our surroundings and be kind and caring when we are using our words. It's simply saying that no matter what we say, somebody may choose to take those words offensively, and that's beyond our control. No matter how much we might want to use colorful, happy, colorful, loving, kind, caring language, someone may take those words and through their filters, take offense to those words right there. So I would say here's where we start to learn about knowing ourselves. And by knowing ourselves, we can start to learn about our non-selves. And so when to react and when not to react is a personal evolution of discovering the mastery of ourselves and how we want to present ourselves in the world. We get to choose how we want to react physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to the stimulus that are presented to us. And this is the great work that's being done. And I highly recommend to invest in learning about how you react to things and then question yourselves, is this a reaction that serves my best higher self and will allow me to achieve the purposes that I've laid out for myself? And if the answer to that is yes, then it seems like it would be a good reaction. If it's no, then maybe considering an alternative to that reaction with a more thoughtful response would be ideal in that situation there. Here's also a great question that I really, really love. And I'll try to expand on it as thoughtfully as I can. What if you had to restart? No degree, no money, no home, no kids, no wife, only your mind and the clothes on your back. What would you do? I love this question because the ability to think about and or consider this question is the key to our liberation from our current situation. In that, in reality, this is what we have the choice before us is. We can truly choose to forget all of the ideas that we've placed in our head, all the ideas of the roles, all the ideas of concepts about education. And so the idea of having a degree, the idea of money, the concept of money, we can consider these from a certain situation. Said that what if there was a reality that didn't have money? What would that mean? What if I didn't have a home that I could call my own? Or what if I didn't have these roles as a father, as a husband, as a best friend? What then could I create or imagine in that situation? And the answer to that is anything that I want. And anything that you want. And the trick to acquiring the anything that you want is to recognize that there are no limitations in the way except the limitations that we put on ourselves. And so if we start practicing that on a daily basis, such as, what would I do if I didn't have to work? This is a great question, because work is one of the ways that enslaves our mind to what we think we have to do. And in this reality, that may be kind of true. But there are ways kind of around that to say, well, if I had to work, could I not choose a form of occupation that gave me happiness or joy or bliss? And then even if I did do that, would it then be considered work? So we're taught when we're younger to just get a job and go make some money and kind of do all the things that we're told to. But those may not give us happiness. Money may not be important to us as far as the pursuit of money. Being married or having kids or having a degree or having a house, none of those things may be important, but we're told that they are important. In creating a reality that truly allows you to discover what your purpose is, then asking these questions to yourself: what would I do if I didn't have to work? Some people are so jaded from having to work in positions that they just absolutely abhor, and are so worn out from working 8, 10, 12 hours a day, 60 hours a week, that they haven't had an opportunity to practice what they would do if they didn't have to work. But I'm saying that if you can find a reprieve while you're working, to say, maybe I should align or to try to discover an occupation that allows me an opportunity to expand my mind, to question why I make the choices that I make, to question why I'm in the career path that I'm in. And when people find that they have the opportunity to do that, they usually choose a different path, one that aligns with their unique individual spark. I've seen people that have gone from careers in medicine or in law to just being a surf instructor in Costa Rica. Now, which one is better? I say the one that gives you more joy and happiness and fulfillment in your life is the better choice. But I respectfully understand there are other people who would say that isn't the best choice. And so, what would I personally do in this? And maybe I'm trying to avoid the question by trying to seek a higher truth. Is that I would travel the world. And I would seek out people with varying perspectives. I travel all the varied environments that this earth has to offer. And they're abundant and almost limitless. Whether it's traveling to the snow-capped and ice-covered volcanoes in Iceland, whether it's traveling to Easter Island, where you see the big moas, which completely unleash another creative stream of thought on how did those giant statues even get there and why are they covered in 40 feet of mud. Seeing those on pictures and being awe-inspired. But by visiting those places, you get to then feel the energy that you wouldn't be able to feel by sitting here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. By not traveling to far-off exotic locations like India and China, Russia, or Brazil, then we miss out on the opportunity that this planet has to offer us. And so to try to find a way that we can align our value and our gifts, our unique talents for the world, sometimes we have to be inspired by different frequencies of energy, by smelling different aromas in like a market in Morocco and Marrakesh, and smelling those North African spices, or maybe even traveling to Dubai to see how it feels to sit through a service in a mosque, or to travel to the hidden jungles of Peru and speak with the tribes that have been isolated from technology for decades. And so I think traveling the world, speaking with as many different types of people as you can, tasting the different foods, smelling the different smells, hearing the different sounds, touching the different qualities of sand that are there, whether it be rocky or be the sugar sand beaches of Destin. I think all of these will inspire us to open hidden chambers within our mind that have just laid dormant because they haven't been stimulated properly with the right frequency of information. So, man, this has been exciting. It's like I got all worked up and excited to talk about these different questions. But if you have any questions that you're looking for a different, unique perspective on, ways to think about your unique situation differently than you have before, ways that your parents may have said that you can't think that way or that you shouldn't think that way, by all means, please comment in the chat or in the comment section and let me know how you feel about some of these things, because the purpose of this whole podcast is to show you that you are an infinite being that can choose anything that you wish to occur. And I'm here to help kind of I'm here to encourage you to do just that. So again, comment down below, share if you'd like this, and if there's any recommendation that you have on how we can make this podcast better, please feel free to let us know. So again, thank you for your time today, and I had a blast. I hope you did too. Thank you very much.